Good morning, welcome, happy Sunday. We are delighted and honored to be here with you again. Welcome to Code, the Church of Direct Experience. This is our monthly gathering where we get to be in practice, in community, and in participation with those deeper and truer aspects of ourselves. We're excited to be with you and share some experience together of the divine gift of gratitude as we move into this portion of the year. It's especially helpful to remember that gratitude is not just something that comes from the outside when seemingly good things occur, but it's something that can be a choice and a practice. So, for those of you who don't know, the Temple of Wholeness is a 501c3 religious organization dedicated to helping all of those we encounter experience more of their innate wholeness, recognizing more of the wholeness of reality and emancipating more goodness, truth, and beauty, and helping you experience more light, love, and life. The uh, order of operations for today is we're going to start with an attunement by Amber, where we'll help to drop into our body, drop into our feeling. I'll do a very short teaching and then practice section, and then we'll round up at the end and offer voices in, and then send you out into the world to have the most beautiful and delightful day possible, and look forward to gathering again in a few weeks. So, with that, we'll jump right into our programming, and delightful to have Amber lead us in an attunement.
Thank you so much, Matt. Pleasure always to be here in communion with you all. Thank you for showing up today to nourish yourself, to nourish this field, and be nourished by it. So, with that, I'll invite us all to begin by closing our eyes. And as we close our eyes, we symbolically begin to shift our attention from the outside, from all of the externalities, and into our interior. So, as we begin to shift our gaze inwards, we also deepen and lengthen our breath. And as we inhale, we begin to call more and more of our attention present inside of this moment. Visualizing with each of those in breaths the photons of light gathering, collecting, and being drawn into your core to begin to potentize and concentrate the light within your own central channel. And with each exhale, we allow ourselves to begin to rest more fully in and down. Noticing with each out breath that we can settle more fully into the pelvic bowl, to rest more fully into the base of the spine, and to give over more completely to the insistent embrace of gravity that is constantly drawing us in and down towards the heart of the mother. So just a few breaths in this way, allowing yourself to arrive. And now we take a moment to simply scan the body, starting at the crown of the head and slowly moving down, and just noticing in this scan whatever sensations may be present, any emotions that might be moving, swirling within you, and taking the temperature of your overall inner atmosphere, just to notice what is present now without needing anything to be different than it is. And now allowing all of this data to just simply combine into the whole of your experience. It's the body, the emotions, your inner atmosphere, all combining into one whole. And simply allowing yourself to breathe into and be with all that is here now, whether it's preferred or not. Just in allowing this moment of presence and honesty with yourself at this starting point as we begin our practice today. Now we begin to shift our attention, bringing it to a point of focus at the center of the heart, at this conductor of our bioorganism, the singularity of our being. So as we locate this point in space within us, feel it begin to draw your attention more deeply inwards, like a magnet pulling you into this sanctuary within your own heart. And we're just simply to begin focusing our attention and breath here at the center. So now as we inhale, we observe the photons of light concentrating into this one point. And as we exhale, we allow the aperture at the center to begin to dilate more broadly open, beginning to widen the access here now. And holding our attention in this center, breathing life into it, we begin to invoke a genuine feeling tone of gratitude, appreciation. And it can be helpful at first to call into your conscious awareness anything in your life that brings forth this feeling of gratitude or appreciation within you. And as you evoke this feeling tone and hold in your focus that which feeds it, we continue to breathe life into it, allowing each in breath to grow this feeling tone, to allow it to become more vivid and stronger. And with each exhale, you allow the ripple of that tone to begin to widen through you. Slowly expanding so that you can feel this saturation of this tone begin to move from the heart through your chest and torso. And noticing, can you turn the dial up on this feeling tone? Can you just dial it up a little bit more so the intensity increases? And keep allowing with each out breath the expansion of this tone through every cell of your body, broadcasting through the entirety of your nervous system, as if a tuning fork is being struck in your space to this frequency of gratitude and appreciation. And through sympathetic resonance, you begin to vibrate until this tone begins to emanate through every pore of your body into the space surrounding you. Beginning to fill the entirety of the space that you're inhabiting in this moment with this tone. Until you can feel not only your body saturating, but the space also saturating. And if it's still helpful to continue to call forth elements of your life that invoke gratitude, you can do so. You can also let it go if you're already seated in the center of this frequency. And just allow yourself to breathe into the vibration and allow it to stabilize even more fully within you and through you. Gratitude for every little thing. Gratitude for the fundamental, for this breath, the breath of life flowing in and out of the body. And begin to visualize these ripples beginning to widen beyond your space. Spherical ripples emanating through you, continuing to travel in all directions, touching all of the particles with this frequency, this tone of gratitude. Gratitude that restores, gift that is present in every moment, regardless of what conditions may be so. Gratitude that we have the choice to awaken in each moment inside of the dream. The gift that it is to be aware that we are aware. Aware that through the tone that we choose to tune ourselves to and vibrate as, that we have great influence and impact in those we touch, in those we may never touch, in every space we move through. Remembering that we always have the choice to gift and uplift all through our presence and the frequency we choose to inhabit. And remembering that regardless of what's happening, it's always a choice. So resting into the peace and the knowing of that and the true power. And gratitude for the freedom that comes when we release the need to be in control of the external conditions and we return once again to the command that we have in each moment on how we respond to the conditions that are present and what we choose to make of it. So some deeper inhales, beginning to draw our attention from as far as the ripples may have traveled, following those ripples back inwards. And as you do, gathering all of the energy that you require in this moment to feel nourished and centered in this frequency of gratitude, receiving back from life this gift as you inhale all the way into the center of the sanctuary in your own heart. Feel this feedback loop of life affirming this choice that we choose to make together today. To be a beacon of gratitude, to be a blessing. And as you find yourself all the way rested, rooted into the infinite stability of your heart, you gently allow the eyes to open back into this shared space. I'm grateful to hand the baton to you, dear Matt. Thank you.
There's a few key features about gratitude that I'd like to share, and as always, I invite you to stay in the open, grounded, and delighted state that Amber just helped us to achieve, and allow these words to simply land without grasping at them, without going into thinking, but just simply in the receiving of these thoughts. First idea is that there are two ways in which we can experience gratitude. The first is a reactive, and the second is a proactive. A reactive gratitude means that when something that is more ideal than our inner state appears to us, we can enjoy it and be grateful for it. The challenge of reactive gratitude is that the nature of the mind is to look for bigger and bigger stimulus with more and more reward. So if we only allow ourselves to be grateful when the universe seems to bring to us something bigger, something better, then we require bigger and bigger and better things, which is not the nature of the universe. So either we will have a period of discomfort, which breaks with something better, or we will end up in bitterness for the things that we should be grateful for. Instead, we're going to invite you into proactive gratitude, meaning that we train the mind, the body, the heart, and the soul to look for things in which we can actively be grateful for. And this turns into gratitude as a practice. We can do this in a way in which ahead of time we get to choose to be grateful. We look forward at our day and we say, oh, I'm going to be talking to Mike later. I'm so grateful for Mike and for the opportunity to talk to Mike. Oh, I'm going to the grocery store later. I'm so grateful to be able to go to the grocery store and get food that nourishes our body. Oh, I get to have 2 hour block of unscheduled, unscripted time later. I'm so grateful for that freedom. In this way, when it's paired with the feeling, which is what we're going to do in our practice today, we tune the body to get to be learning and constantly looking for ways to be more and more grateful. The second idea is paired with a concept that many of the sages and saints and mystics and theologians have suggested might be true over the course of thousands and thousands of years. And that is, if God created the entirety of reality, and substitute the word God for whatever word you like, universe, source, if it is true that God, universe, source, created this reality so that it may experience itself in ever new, novel, and exciting ways, we can simply be grateful that we get to be the sense organs of the divine. We get to be grateful that we get to be the aperture of experience for the divine itself. And if we can practice being in the awake and aware state, that each of our feelings, thoughts, sensations, and experiences is not just for us, but it is for the divine and for all of reality. And genuinely take that in beyond a conceptual thought. My bet is that you would feel pretty grateful for feeling as God feels and feeling as a means to become the content of reality itself. So now we're going to go through a number of ways in which we can be in the practice of experiencing gratitude and to see how much gratitude you can hold in this precious body that we have. So the body is the first place that we're going to start. And the key is not to be grateful for what the body is, with anything that may be perceived as positive or negative, challenge or strength, but to be grateful that the body is, to be grateful that we are in a body, regardless of the experience that the body may be having. So we're going to start down at the feet, and you can move your toes, move your feet, and notice, wow, I have capacity to move my body. As we move up through the lower legs and the calves, through the upper legs, the quads and the hamstrings, we can notice all of this sensation. If we tune into it, we can notice this body created form out of nothing.
Is up by the Wild Animal Park. Okay. It's, for some
This
reason it doesn't
body
show, and I think it's because it's not on fire anymore. Joy's called that they went for a walk and had to stop walking.
created a way of experiencing the world around it. This body was formed with all the capacity for doing and sensing, for movement, for expression, for creation. So we move into the abdomen, we realize this body has the capacity to take in things in the world around us and turn it into energy, turn it into possibility, turn it into consciousness. As we move up into the chest, we realize this body breathes and its heart beats without us thinking about it. It gives us the capacity to navigate in a world, to experience, to inhale and exhale, literally to inspire, to breathe in life and the world around us. So we move up into the throat, we recognize our ability to express, to make sound, whether in communication or in song. And as we move into the head, we realize we get the opportunity to understand this great gift of creative thinking, experiencing, and understanding. This body, in all sense and purposes, is literally a moment to moment, ephemeral experience of magic. All of these things happening, moment to moment, day to day, year to year, are a great and ephemeral gift of the divine itself. As we move into the body, out of the body and into the emotion, we get to be in gratitude, not for what we feel, but that we feel. All of these emotions that I get to feel. And if you zoom out enough to the scale of God itself, the universe itself, the divine itself, you recognize that God has no preference for any particular feeling, but just simply a preference for feeling. So in that, we get to be in gratitude that we feel and how much richness, dimension, sophistication, nuance, and expansion we feel in ourself, noticing reality by feeling. This entire universe of emotion and novelty. We can simply be grateful that it exists. And in the gratitude for all of this feeling, we recognize that the gratitude itself becomes a mechanism for transmuting that which we might prefer not to feel into something we enjoy feeling. There's sadness. Wow. Wow. I have been given an opportunity to be in the body that experiences sadness. There's longing. Wow. I get to be in a body that gets to have the experience of longing. What a gift. No matter what it is, if we relax the content, we get to experience the context of the feeling of that thing. All of that emotion is energy, energy in motion. We can delight in the sensation of energy moving. And as we transcend the emotion into the thought, we can be grateful that we can steer our thoughts. Grateful for the mind that is so infinitely creative that if we let it, it would just endlessly run. It would just endlessly work, seeking new experiences, having new thoughts, but can also be grateful that we can steer those thoughts to things that we prefer to think. And the capacity of the mind that steers a thought will invite the emotion that couples with that. That's the practice we're in right now. Wow, I get to choose to think about gratitude. As I choose to think about gratitude, the body and the emotions naturally respond to bring the energy of delight and excitement and possibility and fullness and love. The mind gets to direct the experience of the emotions, and the emotions over time will inform what the body experiences. These thoughts, as they become more and more conscious and chosen, form our beliefs about ourself. We get to choose beliefs like, I live in a universe in which endless possibility exists, and I get to choose what I focus on. I get to live in a universe in which endless learning exists, and I get to choose the meaning of that learning. I get to live in a universe where endless novelty exists, and I get to choose the value of that novelty. Now, if we are not necessarily in control of our mind or in conscious participation with our mind, it's going to tell us all kinds of things that it likes and doesn't like, things that are good, things that are bad. And we can simply remember, I can choose to find what I'm enjoying and what I'm grateful for right now. If we don't remember that we have choice, the mind is going to go into all kinds of problem hunting until we remember. We remember that we get to direct our life based on what we think and what we feel. And that forms our beliefs, and those beliefs literally create our experience of what shows up into this moment. We get to have gratitude for the people that show up, that allow us to experience ourselves more deeply, to get to know ourselves more fully. And those people get to serve either as examples of how we would not choose to be, or teachers of new and exciting ways we get to experience ourself and the world. Thank you for the examples of how I choose not to be. And thank you for the teachers who remind me what is possible in myself and in the universe. Both of these are gifts. If we look at the entirety of this experience of having physical matter animated by the energy of emotion, guided by the choice of what we think, that gets steered over time into our beliefs and informed by these examples and by these teachers. If you really take the wholeness of that, the totality of that, my bet is that it is impossible not to see the hand of the divine at work. What a great gift this life is. We are the active expression of the divine hand, the divine mind, and the divine heart in linear time and in space. We are the sense organs of God, of the universe, of Source. And God, universe, Source wants to have all of the experiences, but also wants to give choice towards how we would like to experience all of that as well. There are just a few other elements that I would recommend add a particular type of delight and gratitude into this practice. And that is to recognize that we are situated to perform this experiment of being alive and being in a body in the most beautiful and hospitable context, which is nature. We have this amazing infinite energy source called the sun, the physical manifestation of divine light, endless and infinite energy, shining down on us. And this physical representation of the divine light invites up from the earth the great gift of divine life. It literally coaxes life out of the earth, draws up and creates all the plants, all the animals, all the ecosystems that we get to participate in and receive from. And when divine light meets divine life, humans and animals naturally can't help but create divine love. The fact that humans exist and that life exists fed by light means that love will exist. These three great treasures, divine gifts of light, of love, and of life, are the context in which we are swimming in this lifetime, year to year, day to day, moment to moment. And we can choose through divine choice to focus on those things and remember that truth. So as we hold our capacity to be, do, experience, and delight in all these, I would invite you to just take a scan of your surroundings, of your day to day, of yesterday and tomorrow, of the entirety of this life that you have lived and will live, and ask the question, is there anything that I could not choose to be grateful for? Is there anything that if I put my capacity for divine awareness and divine choice, that I could not choose to be grateful for? We may be in the habit and the practice of being ungrateful or being bitter. But right now, in this moment, we can choose, if not for the content of the experience, for the context that we get to be in a body, in a life where we have experiences. And via this practice we've been in today, we get to choose to make it better and better and better and better. One of our dear friends and collaborators, Tony Moss, has a song called Grateful dedicated to exactly this. And in that, Tony says, we can be grateful to have lived at all. We can be grateful to have loved at all. And we can be grateful to be with you all. So why not be grateful? In this very moment, be grateful and let the gratitude and choice to be grateful radiate out into your life, touching everything, animating everything. Let that be like the great balm and gift that it is in your life. And as that animates and illuminates your life, let it radiate out into the lives of others. Let them be uplifted simply for the fact of your existing and your experiencing. And that is one of the ways that the divine light spreads out into the world simply because you chose to be grateful. So, our invitation for practice as you go through this day, each time you step into a new room, you leave where you're sitting now and you go into the kitchen, what can you be grateful for in the kitchen? Each time you take a bite of food, what can you be grateful for in this bite of food? Each time you leave the house and talk to a person, what can you be grateful for in this person? And just see, as the spiritual scientist that you are, running a grand experiment called life, what dividends that returns. What is the way that that creates your life as a crucible for the alchemical process of turning the mundane into the sacred, of turning a life that was average and ordinary into something truly extraordinary? Gratitude is an upward spiral. It has a positive snowballing effect, but all of that relies on the choice. I'm grateful to be in this practice with you today and grateful to hand the baton back over to Amber to take us into a prayer to seal this up. Amber, you're on mute.
Thank you. So, continuing to rest into this frequency of gratitude that we've so richly cultivated today. And from this space of attunement, sending gratitude and love forward on our path. So, see this ripple continue to issue forth through you, clearing the way, reorganizing conditions in accord with this frequency that we choose to embody, to radiate into the world. And may the veil be continually peeled from our eyes so that we can accurately perceive the beauty that is here and to feel the gratitude steeped within our own hearts as we behold beauty, as we choose to be grateful as a way of being. And may any of the thoughts or beliefs that creep in that bind us into a smaller, more diminished version that forgets to be grateful, may that part be continually relaxed and reminded to return again and again, to come home to what is true. Thank you. And so it is.